April. First thing I got to do is I feel like such a fraud. Can't be a fraud here, right? Right. These are my shoes, but they're not the shoes I wear. I've had the shoes on now for a couple of hours. And y'all, I'm just here to tell you, it is Saturday. My feet are used to be a bear on Saturday. So I'm just going to put those right there. And that didn't even start that, right? Oh, well. They heard me anyway because I'm loud. And I'm loud because I have 4 children and 12 friend blessings. I also have 4 bonus children because all my children are married. But let's start at the beginning. You know, back when I was born. Almost 61 years ago. My mom, unlike the other ladies' stories, I feel almost guilty because I almost had a great childhood. Which I don't feel guilty about at all because I was very blessed. But my mom raised the 7 of us with Proverbs 22:6. And it states, train up a child in the way it should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I was raised with 5 big brothers. My sister is 20 years older than I am. She was married and had a child before I was born. I didn't meet her till I was 7 because she lived in Massachusetts and we lived in South Louisiana. When she came home, it's because she was getting a divorce, and she came home with 3 children, my nieces and nephews, and I woke up in the middle of the night and my bed was full. Remember, I had 5 brothers. They shared a room. I had my own room. So I woke up kind of terrified of this full bed and made my way to the kitchen, and I was like, oh, I was 7, and this lady looked just like my mom and said, oh, come here. And I went and crawled up in her lap. She said, oh, April Dawn, in her Massachusetts accent. And I said, oh. That's how I met my sister. All right, so moving on from there, being raised with 5 big brothers, y'all know I was just a lady. I was so girly. No. I climbed trees, I shot guns, I changed the oil, I changed the tire. I didn't wear dresses. I didn't wear heels. My mom wanted a little girl in dresses and little lacy socks and all that cute stuff, and I was the furthest thing from that. But I was learning. But at the age of 17, I got all the way to 17. Karen, can you bring me my water, please? I got all the way to 17 before I got rebellious. Because it was a big joke at our church that my brothers and I were conceived at church because we were always there. If the doors were open, we were there. We did Sunday school, we did act teams, we did church plays, we did choir, if it was open, we were there. We did Bible school, we had the Kool-Aid and the cookies and the little butter rings that went on your fingers to eat them. We did the whole 9 yards, we was always at church. But at 17, and coming out of high school, my mom had the money for me to go to Baptist College in Shreveport, Louisiana. Well, that was not my plans. I'm not going to college, Mom. I'm going to work. You will have a college degree. Okay. That's fine. So April went down to a local bartending school. I got a bartending license. Did I mention my mama was a Sunday school teacher for 35 years? And my daddy was a Southern Baptist deacon? The only thing worse than a deacon's kid is the preacher's kid. Heard that my whole life. Anyway. So I went home that day and I said, there's your degree. And I got a job at Doc Holliday's. I wasn't old enough to be a bartender, but I was old enough to work at the door. So at 18, I moved to Lafayette, Louisiana, because I had to get put underneath that shadow of my mom. Because my mom was owner of her own real estate office. Therefore, she knew that city attorney, she knew the sheriff, I couldn't go out without the deputies following me and reporting back. So I moved 2 hours away. When I got there, I took an ink pen and I dropped it on the phone book in the yellow pages where it said bars. And I went to work at Pirates West, where I met the love of my life. And I was meant to be there because there was nothing better than Robert Wickline. I never dated a customer, ever. I didn't drink because it stunk and yuck. He did. But Lord knows, those blue eyes and that smile could melt butter. It could melt frozen butter. And I wouldn't go out with him though, because he was a customer. But we all went out one night. And the next morning I woke up in my apartment, me and my roommate, and there was Robert. So why are you here? Well, because I couldn't go home. I couldn't drive. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have drank. I knew better. What'd we do? Nothing. You would not let me. At least I kept some sense about me. He said, can we now? No, we can't. Anyway, let's fast forward. We did get married. We had 4 children. Robert worked for the same company for 37 years. He worked overseas. He would go away for 30 days and he would come home for 30 days. I raised 4 children. 4 children who played 4 different sports. My girls cheered and my boys played football, or they wrestled. So when Robert was gone, everyone did the running. So for this first half of the story, I was wearing baby shoes and little wee walkers, high top whites. Now I'm wearing tennis shoes because I am running for all I'm worth. And for the next 30 years, I ran with my children. Every ball game. At one point in my life, I had a middle school football game on Wednesday night. I had a JV game on Thursday night and a varsity game on Friday night. And my kids didn't go to a practice or a ball game that I wasn't at because no one else was raising my kids because I didn't want them in the world. I wanted them to know Jesus. And I wanted them to know what was out there. I didn't want them to be raised stupid. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want them to go out into the world and go, oh. I wanted them to know. And they did because I told them. My girls knew things that they probably shouldn't have known, but they did. And so when it came up about, they were like, got this, Mom. You told me this for 2 years. It's okay now. So now we're at and a little child shall lead them. So going back a little ways. Our first child was born. Her name's Amanda. Started dating Robert. We got married, got away from going to that church thing, I'm living 2 hours away. Mom's not saying, are you at Sunday school this morning? No, I'm not. At 4 years old, Amanda came in there and woke me up. She said, yesterday was cartoon day. I said, it was, you're right. She said, today's church day. I said, well, maybe. She said, Grandma said. I said, well, Grandma don't know everything. Grandma Tootsie knows that today's church day and we're supposed to go to Sunday school. She said to tell you after cartoon day is church day. I said, oh, Grandma Tootsie said that, did she? So we found a church, and we got in church. And I raised all 4 of my children. Now we're fast forward back to where I was, because I passed that. Raised up my children in church. But as I said, A little child shall lead them, Isaiah 11:6. And she did. She led me right back to where I needed to be. And I raised my children where they needed to be. We moved on. Robert worked. I was able to stay at home with my children because of the way he worked. I got involved with different organizations. I was able to go with my children and do what they needed to do. Spent a lot of time in the schools volunteering. Just normal life, happy life, right? Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." Well, sometimes you get overwhelmed with the kids, 12 grand blessings. My house is not really big, and all that at one time is like really crowded, but it's a lot of fun. And we settled down. Kids all grew up and moved away. My oldest grandson is graduating high school this year. He's only 16. He's graduating a year early. So proud of him. Robert retired. Got to stay on. And we always said, well, when I get to 62, I'm going to retire and we're going to travel. When I get to 62, we are going to do this and this and this. You're there, but when I get there, I get to quit too, and I'm going to retire. And then we're going to take that travel trailer that we bought, and we're going to go too. Well, April 2nd, I'll turn 61. But when I turn 62, Robert won't be with me. Because June 7th of 22, my perfect mate, after 38 years of marriage, God called him home. The day before God called him home, he mowed grass. We watched a movie together that night. We had supper. Normal stuff, right? My husband tended cattle. He cut down trees. He drove tractors. He was the picture of health. He woke up at 6 a.m. the morning of June 7th, 2022, and stepped out of bed and fell down. And I went over and I helped him up and I said, "Baby, what's wrong?" He said, "No." I don't know. So I helped him to the edge of the bed and he sat down. He said, "Just get me to my chair." And he was drenched with this cold sweat. You gotta realize, we've been married 38 years. I had never been an adult without him in my life. He's been in my life since I was a kid. I mean, I consider 22 a kid now. Then I didn't. Then I was growing. But anyway, I hope I put on my waterproof mascara. I really tried. But something else I don't usually wear. But anyway, I appreciate you. I love you. I got into the living room and sat him down in his chair, and I went and got a towel, and because he was sweating that badly, and I dried him off. Didn't matter. He just instantly got wet again. I said, "Robert, I'm going to call an ambulance." "Oh, no, I'm going to be better in a minute." I said, "Well, let me just take your blood pressure." So I did, and it read 90/60. I said, "Robert, that's not good. That's not a good blood pressure. I'm not calling an ambulance." "Oh, no, I'm already feeling better." "So let me just take it one more time, Robert. Let me take it on the other arm." "Well, go ahead if you have to, but I'm feeling better already." Did I mention that my husband looked just like Santa Claus? Did I mention that he was Sandy Ridge's community Santa Claus? So all the kids in the county thought he was Santa. He had the big white beard, the long white hair. So when he passed, the kids were like, "Oh, Santa." My granddaughter got off the bus one day. I'll go back to the story in a minute when I catch my breath. My grandkids got off the bus one day, and my granddaughter comes across the yard and she says, "Hey, Nick." She high fives her papa. He looks at me and said, "Nick?" "Oh yeah, that's another name for Santa. You got it." And she goes on about her business, and he's like, "It's Papa to you." Hey, Nick. They've been learning about Christmas around the world. And in some land somewhere, Santa's called Nick. Anyway. So I got into his chair. The next time I took his blood pressure, he didn't have one. I couldn't get a reading. He says, "Robert, I'm calling an ambulance." He said, "Yeah, that's probably a good idea." So I called the ambulance, and they got there, and they tried to take his blood pressure, and they couldn't get one. So they said they're going to go ahead and take him to the hospital. I said, "All right." So they got him loaded up, and I went out to the ambulance there, and I kissed him. The Tom said, "Please don't give him any issues. Just do what you're told. Don't, just whatever they tell you to do, just do it. If they, just don't argue with them." Because, he's real good about saying, "I ain't doing it." I said, "I'm going to take a shower, let Zoe out," because that's his dog. "I'm going to let Zoe out and let her potty, and I'll get her back in. Get you a hat," because remember I said he had all that hair. He had more hair than 4 men all put together. I said, "I'm going to bring you a hat, and I'll be out there." I said, "I love you." And he said, "I will love you till the end of time." Not everybody gets that to be their last words. I'm very thankful that I got that to be my last words. It's the last words I ever heard him speak. Because on the way to the hospital, they had to pull over and do chest compressions. By the time he got to the hospital where my son was waiting, because he's a respiratory therapist at Forsyth Hospital, he was working third shift, and I called him and told him, "Your dad's on the way out there. Can you get down to the ER and meet the ambulance?" He said, "Yeah, Mom, I'm getting off. I'll meet you." So my son got to meet the ambulance and get told that his dad had passed away on the way. And then he got to tell his mama when I got there. But God blessed me with a very strong kid, because he got me through that day. The next day, and the next, and the next, and the next month, life just passed in a blur. And I really thought, God, I don't know why you did this. And I was mad. I was so mad. I'm almost 62. That's the magic number. Not only did you take the love of my life, you took all my plans, you took my life, you took my future, you took everything from me. What in the world? Was it there's somebody else out there that you could have used better? Then I came across two different scriptures. One was 2 Peter 3:8. And it tells us God has perfect timing. He's never early and he's never late. God is never in a hurry, but he is always on time. I still questioned, but what am I supposed to do now? How do I go on? I don't even know what my next step should be because everything I had planned, all these plans, they don't even make sense now. Nothing does. So one night I sat down and I said, okay, April, you need to get yourself together because you have never been one to sit down and give up. You've always been a kick butt. You've never been a pushover. You've got 4 children, 4 bonus children, and you got 12 grand blessings, and you are blessed. There is people out here with their love of their life dying that has no one. And you are whining. Really? Get over it. And of course, April came out and said, get over it. How are you going to get over something like that? Well, I prayed about it. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I said, God, please show me what I'm supposed to do next. Because I don't know. I don't know how to go on. I don't know how to be April. I've been Robert's wife for 38 years. I've been married. I've not been single my entire adult life. I don't even know how to do that. I'm not good at it. I probably never will be either, so that's okay too. But this fell in my lap. One day I was doing my early morning devotional, and I'm sitting there with my little devotional book, and I just reached over and opened my Bible, fixing to flip to where my devotional matched up, and as I opened it, it opened to Proverbs. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not upon your own understanding. In all ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. I said, okay, you want me to trust you. You took everything from me. I'm going to trust you. But you know what, guys? I do. I do trust him. I trust him with everything in me. I've always trusted him. I trust him with my children. I pray over them every night. I trust him with my blessings. I pray over them every night. I trust him with my puppies, even though sometimes I question that, whether or why I have them. But I know why I have them, because without them I would be so lost. I have a mirror in my room that has yellow sticky notes on it. When someone's name pops up and it just sticks with me, I put their name on a yellow sticky note and stick it on that mirror. Those people get special prayers. I trust him with all those special prayers. So why wouldn't I trust him with my journey? So now I call it my new journey, my new path, my new life. It's not easy, it's hard. And when Karen said, April, I've been thinking, I was like, oh, here we go. When Karen thinks, it's usually, oh, here we go. So I've been thinking that you might be one to speak. I said, Karen, I talk all the time. She said, at the conference, at the Ladies' Day. Oh, Karen. But I prayed about it, and after a week, I went back and I said, Karen, I'm gonna take up on it. I'll go ahead and speak. Well, ladies, last week, all week, I had so many doubts. I mean, I read Amanda's bio. I was like, she travels the world. She's a missionary. Look at that. I'm a mom and I have 12 grand blessings. There you go. And so I have all these doubts and all this, oh, I'm not good enough to do that. So I almost canceled. But during this, I went and saw a friend that her husband had been sick, and I went and saw her at work. And the little girl standing there, I was talking to her about my doubts. She's a Christian lady, and I was talking to her about my doubts. And the little girl standing there said, well, I would resonate more with your story than with hers. She said, not that I don't think she's doing a great job, but I would feel more at home at your table. I said, oh, okay. That didn't make the doubts go away. Then a friend of mine that I worked with at First Life Hospital sent me a message. And I won't tell this part, but Karen said I needed to. I was about ready to send her a message, text. Yeah, I ain't doing that. You lost your mind. I ain't getting up there in front of nobody I don't know. It's one thing to do it in front of a classroom where I got to teach people. I'm getting paid to do that. But just get up there and tell my story, my heartbreak, my shattered heart. You share that? I ain't doing that. This friend sent me a message out of the blue. I haven't seen her in 15 years. She's just got through publishing her second story. She's on Faith. And she said, I just wanted to reach out and tell you thank you for introducing me to Jesus. I said, well, Dee Dee, that's great, but I don't think I did that. I appreciate, getting the credit, but I'm pretty sure I didn't do that because I don't, just it's not something I do. I do walk by walk, and if you know me, you're gonna know that I'm faithful. But if you don't know me, then you're not, you're not gonna hear me say, "Let me tell you about Jesus." That's probably not gonna, it's probably not gonna hear me say that. But what I did say to Dee Dee every night for 2 years, because I got off at 11 and she got off at 12 at midnight, my hour drive, I said, you know what I'm gonna do on my hour drive? I'm gonna pray that you get home I'm gonna pray you get home safe. Because she had a 10-minute drive. So by the time she got off and got home, I would just be getting home. So if I prayed for her by hour drive, when I got home, she'd be home. So every night before I left, I said, I'm going to pray that you get home safe the whole time I arrive home. And I would say, Jesus loves you, and so do I. Have a good night. To my surprise, that was witnessing and introducing her to Jesus. So guys, what I'm telling you is you don't have to wear a big flag. You don't have to walk around beating on a Bible and screaming. Just walk the walk. Just tell people Jesus loves them. That's sharing Jesus. So I'm going to just tell you things like, who's your emergency contact? That can bring home. I don't know one now. Robert's my emergency contact for 38 years. Who's my mom? I don't know. I don't have an emergency contact. I went to the D&D in Walnut Cove to change over the titles for his truck to my name. Well, I want you to know that 5 people were crying and the other 15 or so was staring at me like I lost my mind. Because the woman looked at me and said, did he sign this? No! And then I was a bucket of tears and melted into the floor. And so the other 5 ladies that realized it was close enough to hear was like, and they're crying, and the poor little girl behind the counter's crying, and the other 15 people are like, Long day. Little things can set somebody off that's grieving. Just tell them you love them. Don't try to fix it. Don't tell them to quit grieving. Just tell them God loves them. Or don't tell them anything. Just pray for them. I ask all of y'all to pray for me because the Lord knows I need it. Every day. Every day is a struggle. Every morning I wake up in prayer. I say, Lord, I'm going to get up out of this bed. As bad as I want to just stay in it and not get up, I'm going to get up and I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. And I'm going to go on this journey you have me on that I have no idea where it's going. And I'm going to trust and have faith that wherever it ends is where I'm supposed to be. And that one day, I'll probably be 110, but one day I'll see Robert again. Because we celebrated him home. I know where he's at. He's lucky. I'm still here with the dogs and the kids. And trust me, every day of my life now, I get up every morning and say, really? This? Really? So I'm going to go ahead and finish with y'all and tell you. Perseverance in the faith. Cast off all fear and keep your heart strong. God will never forsake you. That's Psalms 112, 6-8. I live every day of my life faith over fear. And I'm going to recommend it highly. Whether you've lost somebody you love, whether you lost your job, whether you don't know what your next step is, whatever's going on in your life, do not let fear in. There's a song, it's a Christian song. In fact, it's almost like my motto song right now. It's called the Breakup Song. It's fear, you have no place here. If you get a chance, look it up. It's called the Breakup Song. It's like my motto song right now. And I ask for your prayers, and I'm going to pray for y'all guys. But right now it's about not so much letting go, but baby steps and moving forward. But it's about all I got, guys. And y'all, just so y'all know, they have laptops. I'm 10 years older than the oldest one. I'm still with my little stenograph here and my 8 pen and my outline.
There's more Holy Spirit than how to paper. Francesca Madison, right?
Yes.
We're going to listen to this and don't know